Hello and welcome to the Shin Motor Cars Enthusiast. Right off the bat on today's show, Aston Martin finally took off the wraps of the DBX SUV. Now, I have to say, when I saw this kind of in that, in that camouflage with the big DBX logo that we've seen all over the old internets over the past several months, I thought that thing was ferociously ugly. In fact, I thought it was easily the ugliest Aston Martin, but possibly the ugliest SUV. But now that it's all shiny and clean, I think this thing is a total 180. In fact, I think it's the most beautiful SUV I've ever seen. The interior is just as luxurious as the exterior, but we haven't heard official spec levels or trim levels on this particular machine, at least as of yet. But we do have power numbers. The Mercedes-sourced 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8 makes 542 horsepower and 516 pounds-feet of torque. That is shifted through a 9-speed automatic transmission, also sourced from Mercedes-Benz, and they claim it'll do 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds with a top speed of 181 miles an hour. Now, the roof rack apparently can hold up to 200 pounds of weight, and the vehicle can tow 59,040 pounds. Now, again, we haven't heard just when exactly this thing's going to be hitting dealer showrooms, but we have heard the official starting price, at least here in the United States, of $192,086. So we'll definitely keep you tuned more of what we hear. Next up on the list, well, if you haven't seen this, well, we're going from probably the most beautiful SUV to this. This is Tesla's brand new Cybertruck. In fact, the long-rumored Cybertruck, and definitely the long-talked about, but it's finally here. And I'll get to my impressions on just what exactly it looks like here in a minute. Let's get over the specs. This vehicle comes in 3 different trim levels. A single motor rear-wheel drive that does 250 miles of range. A dual motor all-wheel drive that does 300 miles of range. And a tri-motor all-wheel drive that gets 500 miles of range. That top of the tree tri-motor does 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. Apparently it can haul 3,500 pounds of weight and be able to tow 14,000 pounds of weight. All very, very impressive, especially for an SUV, or I should say, an EV. Starting price for the single motor rear-wheel drive is $39,900, so it's relatively inexpensive. And I think the looks have a lot to do with it, because it's also been widely reported that that's the way the vehicle looks the way it is. That's why all the glass is flat, all the panels are flat. One of the most expensive things you can do inside of the automobile industry is tooling. The tooling to actually do body panels, interior and exterior panels, is violently expensive. In fact, we're talking in the billions of dollars it could cost for just one vehicle. So, if you spend $1 billion, it's going to have to sell quite a few vehicles to actually get the vehicle to pay itself off. So, all these flat panels mean this thing is very inexpensive to build. There is another color trick in this box, too. This thing looks exceptionally large. Now, exceptionally large, they keep comparing it to an F-150, which I always thought was a little bit unfair, because all the specs you have as far as the towing and capacity, even though they claim the other ones will do it, I'm assuming it's more along the lines of the top of the range version that's almost $70,000. For $70,000, you're probably not buying an F-150. In fact, you're probably buying a 3/4 ton or a ton Ford, possibly with a diesel, which then means that that thing will blow this thing out of the water as far as towing and capacity inside of it. That being said, this particular vehicle is an electric vehicle, which means that what it's doing is hugely impressive, at least in my mind. But I have to say, if you got 3,500 pounds of weight in it, obviously 500 miles of range isn't going to happen. If you got 14,000 pounds, I'm assuming there's no way it's going to get anywhere near the range. In fact, I think you'd be lucky to do 250, half the range. But the trick is half the range still isn't too bad. 250 miles, towing 14,000 pounds, not too bad at all. Now let's get to the styling of it. We talked a little bit about how this vehicle looks is the reason why it's so inexpensive, because actually building it's going to be very inexpensive. But it looks awkward, doesn't it? my first thought when I saw this car, because I didn't stay up to watch the big reveal, it didn't come on till 11, 12 o'clock my time in the evening, and I was pretty tired already that day. But when I first saw it the next morning, my mouth was instantly agape, which instantly erupted into laughter. And then these words came out of my mouth: there is no way they're going to sell this thing. And then I thought about it for a second and then thought, you know what? This is Tesla. If they made the bodywork look like the poop emoji, it would still sell. So, here's the trick. Elon Musk has already announced, the day of the taping of this particular program, that they've already taken a ton of pre-orders. Now, the trick is Elon Musk has a, well, kind of tendency for not telling the truth. So, he's claiming that almost 200,000 people have laid down their money to pre-order this. But there's a trick to that. It's only $100 if you want to lay down your money to be on the list. And I've already heard from at least one person who's laid down their $100 that they're waiting until the vehicle actually launches before they decide whether they're going to take it. Because there is a couple of other tricks. Obviously, this thing isn't quite done yet. It's definitely a concept piece. There's no mirrors on it. There's no wiper blades on it. This thing has a lot of work to do to actually get it done. So it'll be interesting to see how much of it will change. I have to say, after a couple of days of actually staring at it, I've kind of grown accustomed to it, even though I couldn't imagine laying down any amount of money to actually own this car. But I'm very interested to see what you think. What do you think? Write it down in the comments section. Write it down on the Facebook page, wherever this is being shared. My Twitter account, wherever it's being shared. Just tell me what you think of this doggone thing. Would love to know, and maybe I'll enter it into a next broadcast. Last up on the list, one of the great guys in motorsports, Jimmie Johnson, 7-time NASCAR champion. 5 times of those were consecutively from 2006 to 2010. The only person that won a championship was Mr. Jimmie Johnson. The man's won 83 wins in his 17-year career, but 2020 will be his last, his 18th and final year inside of NASCAR. I'm hoping Mr. Johnson sticks around in the racing world, maybe do a little bit of sports car racing, maybe go over to Le Mans, maybe go back to the roots of off-road racing as well. That would be pretty cool to see. So we'll definitely keep you tuned more of what we hear about Mr. Johnson's plans are after 2020. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Don't forget to like us over on the Facebook page. Links down in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time. The first dibs on the brand new show as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.